Right, and hello, and for this particular video we're going to be fixing this geezer here, and I do believe it's Onslaught, or as some people do know him, affectionately given the name of Nemesis Prime. Just because you can see he's basically a black version of Optimus. Now, I picked this guy up from a toy fair, Barry Potter's Toy Fair I believe, and he's a great little figure, but the trouble is he doesn't stand very well. His joints are incredibly loose. I mean, you can't move them. Well, if you're going to put him in a pose, he's not going to pose very well. So what we're going to do today is generally have a look at how to fix the loose joints on this particular geezer. Right now, I've had a quick look about, and he has got a few screws here and there, mainly on his legs and stuff. But I think the main problem is going to be in this back section here. So I'm going to start with carefully unscrewing all these nuts and bolts and stuff. Apart from the legs, I want to keep the legs absolutely okay. And I'm then going to just generally try and remove this panel and have a look where I go from there. Right, so I think we're just going to need this little geezer for the job first. So let's start with taking these screws off, and we'll see where we go from there. See, sorry for knocking the camera as I go. It's one of them, unfortunately. Now, what you got to remember is when you're taking any sort of screws or anything like that apart, you're gonna have to remember where you're gonna, where these screws go, different sizes and the different lengths. Right, that is actually one solid cast, I think. Actually, no, it's not. That might actually come off in one hit. Let's just check. So this does not want to come out at all. Does not want to come out. Now, I kind of hoped that would be it, that it would just easily come out, but obviously it had different plans, or this is one really long screw. All right. Let's see if we can use a bit of gentle persuasion on him there. Okay. Right, so after generally stopping just to remove this pesky screw that I found in the back panel here, just to try and remove this section to fix the legs, I discovered that after taking this tiny screw out, you can't actually access this panel to crack it open. So I took it upon myself when the camera was off and I was just doing a bit of wrestling to open up this back panel here. So I already removed all the 4 screws, which you can see. Right, so if we remove Onslaught's back panel, you'll see that is him. So obviously I've got it. He's on this swivel joint here, which you can just cautiously take out there. Right, and I'm going to remove this piece and generally keep it there for safekeeping, because we don't want to lose it. Right, so I should just be able to remove these 2 screws here to access the parts which I want to get to, which should be relatively easy. So the good thing about transformers is you can actually generally just repair pretty much anything on them. So I'm just keeping all the little screws to one side so I don't lose them, because if I were to lose them, that would be absolutely catastrophic. Well, not really, it just means we go to the hardware shop to buy more. So right, so all that said and done, I should now, there we go. Right, so that is that removed, and let's have a look at the offending objects. Right, so let's have a proper look at these. Right, okay, so we've got these little doohickeys here which fit into this panel here, which we'll just take off and slide them back in place so they're not going to be lost. And that leaves us with the ratchet pins here, which was connected with one big thread. Okay, right, so it was the general sort of swinginess, the looseness. So the way I'm going to combat this is I can't really see how there would be. Right, I'm going to try some PTFE tape. That seems to be the go-to method for fixing loose joints like this. It's a very simple, very simple and safe method for this type of thing. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to thread it through, thread them, the PTFE here on this, and put some in the middle there. Right, the first thing I want to do now, I've thought about this, is I'm actually going to get the PTFE tape, wrap it around, well, remove these parts here, these little panels that you just saw me put back in the crotch section, these here, and I put these back on so I can sort of position the tape where I actually want it. After I've done that, I'm going to wrap PTFE tape on here and through the bar to generally fatten up a bit, because what it looks like to me is that maybe they've put too much of a hole here. I want to try and shrink that hole down, which generally should give me some wear and tear to make him more flexible so he can stand up straight. Right, so if you want to give me 2 seconds, I'm going to turn the camera off and then I'll come back and I'll show you exactly what I've done. We'll put Onslaught / Nemesis Prime back together again. Right, so after some closer inspection of getting these parts out, I know what I actually come to the conclusion noticed was that the little blockheads here that actually slide into the ports of the pelvis section, at some point they sort of loosened or come undone, which caused the actual legs to slide through. Because when I undone this originally, you'll see on the beginning of the video, it looked to me like these were actually over here. So I think that's what the actual problem was. So what I did, I got some PTFE tape like we spoke about, and I actually wrapped it around the actual cog joints and I slid the actual panel back on. So what I'm going to do now is slide everything back together and generally fit it in how I need it to fit in. Right, so let's have a look at this. Right, so both pegs are in like so. Now hopefully this is going to work. I don't think it's going to. Right, tactic number 2. If I take that out first, Then I'm going to pop the pins in here. Alright, make sure they're all secure, tight. Yep, they're in. Alright, now what I'm going to have to do is I've got to try and pop these in. Okay, alright. 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, and then I will be with you in a second. This is a bit fiddly. Right, now with that done out of the way, it was a bit of a struggle, but you can generally see that that's now secure. So what you're going to have to do now is these screws you put to one side earlier on, because obviously they're different to the back panel screws, is you're going to have to gently slide them back in place, and we'll reattach the torso sections and generally see if this has worked. But I'll tell you what though, even if it hasn't worked, it was quite interesting to see how Nemesis Prime / Onslaught was put together. It's quite a nice sort of simple construction, I think, but very, very cool. I tell you what, I'm wiggling these legs and they ain't moving very much. I think I've done the trick. Apologies for knocking the tripod there. Right. So that. Oh, that's 100%. Fix them leg joints, that ass. That is actually quite a nice repair job. Right, so then what we're going to do is we add another one of these tabs that fits with a little peg going in there, which then slid into Nemesis's, well, I'm going to say Nemesis Prime. I'm always going to say Nemesis Prime / Onslaught because that's who he is. So that section fits in like so. Keep the back panel very, very fucking safe and next to you, because you don't want any of these parts springing out and going everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to drop the back pegs in like this. Screw it up. I'll be back with you in just a few moments. Right, and there we are, all the back panels to Nemesis Prime / Onslaught are back in place and are done. Right, so let's see how we've done. So before, you couldn't stand up very well at all, and as you can see now, with just a simple fix and a bit of engineering work of opening Nemesis Prime Onslaught up, and this handy little device known as PTFE tape, a decent screwdriver, and a bit of a general wrestling around. That was actually me knocking him. You can actually see, there you go, let's move the camera around. He's actually now completely fixed. I couldn't actually move his legs before. So that's the test. As you can see, yeah, I can now pose him and generally move him around, and he actually stands quite well as well. So yeah, that in my book is an absolute win. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing more taking apart Transformers, seeing how they work, and generally fixing them up. So yeah, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll hope to see you all around soon. Enjoy your day. So from repaired Nemesis Prime or Onslaught, and from me, enjoy your day. See you in a bit, and all let's get ready to roll out. Ta-ra.